So hi everyone, my name is Matt Orbit and I am the Lupin breeder at Australian Grain Technologies. And welcome to the field site walk for the AGT GIWA Lupin Industry Day. So just a bit of background of who AGT is. So AGT is a plant breeding company, the largest plant breeding company in Australia. We're located all across Australia. So we have a node here in northern WA. We have one at Roseworthy, SA, one at Wagga Wagga in New South Wales, and Narrabri in northern New South Wales. But like I said, we're a plant breeding company and we breed a variety of different crops. So we breed wheat, barley, canola, and lupins. Now AGT has been breeding lupins since 2016 when we took over the lupin breeding program from DAFWA. On the back of our success in wheat breeding, varieties like Scepter and Mace, we really thought we could bring in these expertise and these breeding skills and apply them to lupins and really increase the values for lupins for growers. So I should still first welcome you here to our northern home site. We call this our northern home site because it's the closest one to our office. And so every stage of the breeding program is located here in this paddock. But that's not the only site that we breed for. We actually breed in a lot of environments across WA. So we have trial sites at Eridu near Geraldton. We have Karoo, of course Northam, Corrigin, Cadoo, and Gibson near Esperance. We're breeding for a range of environments to really find which one will perform either best in all of them or which one is a standout in one of them. So we're investing all of these resources into these multi-environment testing to really find a broad adaptation for lupins. But I'm here today to really tell you about the actual lupin breeding program as a whole, and I'll hopefully give you a snapshot of each stage of this program. So initially, we start off with our lupin crosses. We do this by identifying elite germplasm as well as more broadly genetic diverse germplasm to bring in. We've done this because the genetics in lupins have been quite narrow and we really want to expand upon this. So what we do with this material is we send it off to our Roseworthy breeding centre. We do this because they have the expertise and the state-of-the-art facilities to ensure a successful cross. But from there, those seeds are sent back to us where we plant them here in our lupin paddock and we plant them as a half plot. And basically a half plot is what it sounds like. It's half the size of a regular plot. And we do this because we can test an increased number of lines and populations. We can do this over a smaller area, so we're really capitalizing on a cost-effective system. So from this stage, we then take these populations and we expose them to anthracnose. We do this in conjunction with DPIRD and plant pathologist Jeff Thomas, where we run a anthracnose nursery. So this really allows us to test anthracnose resistance early on in the program and really skew all of the populations towards more anthracnose resistance. From there, those populations come back to Northam, where we sow them with a space planter. This basically allows us to space these lupins apart from each other, roughly around 20 centimeters. We do this because we found in the past that if we give lupins a bit more space, they don't have to fight with neighboring plants, and so they actually bush out a lot more, and therefore they yield quite a bit more as well. And this is important for this part of the program because we take individual selections from this part. So we're taking these individual selections out of this population where they then become the half plots again. And this is a crucial part because we're able to now look at some of the traits for these lupins. So for example, we look at plant height, maturity, plant color, flower color, pod shattering, but also two key traits is what we focus on at this part of the program. We screen for alkaloids, and there's actually a very effective in the field approach that we can take. And we also test for metribuzin tolerance. So from this, these lines will then make it into our stage 1 material. And this is important because these enter what is known as our full plot trials, where we can do multi-environment yield testing. So not only will we be able to get a yield prediction for each of these lines at our Northam site, we will also get a prediction for how they would perform in other environments. And so we compare their performance based upon the competitiveness with other benchmark varieties. So for example, we're comparing to Barlock, Mandelup, Durian and Coyote, just to name a few. And so they really need to be competitive with these varieties to continue on into the program. So the next stage is the stage 2. So this is essentially a similar stage to the stage 1s, but it's tested across even more environments. In fact, it's tested across all 6 environments that I mentioned earlier. So from this, we go to our stage 3. And this is a really important stage in our program because this is where they enter some more disease testing. So now we run nurseries with the stage 3 material. We run nurseries for anthracnose, stem phomopsis, pod phomopsis, cucumber mosaic virus, and grey leaf spot. But we also do lab testing for the alkaloids and the protein levels. So then once they make it into the stage 4, these are essentially our most advanced elite lines coming through the program. So they enter the advanced stage 4s, make it into the national variety trials where they'll be tested over a couple years. But they also enter what we call our pure seed production protocol. So this basically, at the end of this protocol, will give us a pure seed source that we'll be able to use for seed production. So then when we decide to release a variety in spring, growers will have seed available to them for sowing the following year. So basically that's the program. To sum it up, we've gone from about 5,000 lines and populations all the way down to a single variety over these years. But yeah, and if you have any questions or comments out there, feel free to get in contact with me. I'm always happy to talk about the Lupin breeding program. So now we're at AGT Northam and we're about to take you on a brief tour of our breeding facilities. All right, so this is the main workplace area that we have in our Northam base. And this is our robot that we load a lot of our trials on. This robot allows us to load seeds for various trials. It allows us to improve our statistical design for them, where we can basically load our seeds into this main section here. We plug in our trial design that we have, and using the coordinates for that trial design, the robot's able to identify which cell that the seeds needs to be loaded in. It can control the seeding rate that we put into each of these cells. Using this robot gives us the opportunity to come up with various statistical designs of the actual trial. So for example, we can design different structures of the trials per site we take these to, rather than loading the exact same trial for each of the different environments. So the next room we're about to enter is our cold storage room. This is where we store our medium to long-term material. At the moment, it's quite empty because we've just done a clean out in preparation for this year's harvest. But when this is really full, it's stacked to the brim with pallets and these black boxes. And within these black boxes are our individually harvested plots. And each one of those bags has a label attached to one of these. And this label has its coordinates via a barcode, but also has what line it was, what its pedigree is, and where its position in the field was. And so we normally store them here, where we would then process them over summer to then design our new trials for next year. So this is our in-house workshop where we do our in-house maintenance on our machinery, and it's also used as a bit of a storage shed as well for some of our trailers. This is our shed where we store our harvesters. We have harvesters ranging from the Wintersteiger Classics to the new Wintersteiger Quantums. We've invested in these new Quantums and we have about 5 of them now. We've done this to really improve working conditions and also to improve our productivity because we have a higher throughput of samples now. And so this helps us to improve how many genotypes we can actually screen to help identify which one will be the next new variety. So these are our twin plot seeders that we have. So this links back to what we saw at the robot with those magazines being filled. They feed into the machine up into the middle console up there. We're able to put those in, we're able to flip them around, and using, essentially using GPS, we're able to, time exactly when the seeds will drop out into the paddock to make these plots. This system was designed to make it essentially replicate what farmers do in the paddock. So yeah, it's consistent to real world seeding as possible. And from this, we're able to seed, it's what we call full plots. We're able to seed one plot on this side and one plot on the other side, across about a 5 meters, well, across about 3 to about a 5 meter area. And it's using these plots that we're able to get a yield prediction for some of these lines coming through. Using the twin plot seeder, we're able to sow out twice as many as we would with a single plot seeder. This saves us a lot of time and effort in terms of the time it takes to seed. And using this, we're able to assess far more genotypes than we would with a single plot seeder, thus increasing our chance of finding that new genotype that's performing better than the others. So basically, these are our quantum harvesters, and it gives us the ability to essentially harvest all of these seeds. We're able to bulk them up if we wanted to have a bulk line. We also have the ability to sub-sample from this. So let's say we want to only collect 500 grams from a sample. We have a weighing machine in here that allows us to do that. And in order to do that, it can feed up into the cab. And the cab, we have a bagger next to us. So there's 2 people in the cab. And the bagger is able to collect this into those bags that we saw in the cold room, and then stack them away. So yeah, at AGT, we believe our biggest strengths are that we're regionally based here in Northam, and we're really embedded in the this regional community that we're actually breeding for. And this means that we have a local team dedicated to analysing our samples and processing our samples, but we also have most of our trials being run in-house as well. So we believe this gives us better control over our data to really help us inform us in making better selection decisions.